ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् Verse 24 कामाद्या चित्तगा दृश्याः तत्साक्षित्वेन चेतनं ध्यायेद् दृश्यानुविद्धोऽयं समाधिः सविकल्पकः. So in these verses from 21st to 31st verses, the author talks about nididhyasanam for assimilation of the teaching. And the type of nididhyasanam which is being described here is a samadhi abhyasa, rupa nididhyasanam. Samadhi abhyasa means you definitely sit in a in a traditional form of meditation. So that is called samadhi abhyasa. And 6 types of samadhis are described, as we have seen in the last class. And having enumerated the 6 types, author here in the verse 24 explains this antar drishya drishyanuviddha savikalpak samadhi. So antara means internal, drishyam means what is thought, and anuviddha means associated. So internal thought associated savikalpaka samadhi. And definitely here it is nothing but, this samadhi is nothing but an attention upon consciousness as witness of the thoughts. The name looks very big, internal thought associated savikalpak samadhi, but ultimately it is nothing but our attention goes to only sakshi, consciousness, as the very witness of the thoughts. So he is paying attention to the consciousness principle as the illuminator or witness of the thoughts as they arise in the mind. So an example also we have seen for practice of this meditation is that you imagine a room in which many people come and go, and objects are basically brought in and taken out. All these are illumined by the light principle in the room, and the light principle is basically all pervading, and it illumines the arriving and departing objects. First, the attention is turned basically from the objects to the light, and the light is noticed. Usually when someone enters the room, the objects are noticed by the light, by which the objects are known. Generally that is missed. Our attention is on the people, and therefore the light which illumines them, because of which we are able to experience the people, that principle, very important principle, otherwise you will not experience the people at all in the room. But that is missed, and therefore it is so we have, someone draws our attention to the light, because of which you experience the people in the room. So and therefore there is no lack of experience of the light as such, but the light is taken for granted. And the exercise is to focus the attention on the light and compare and contrast the features of the light and the objects or the people. So objects, what are the contrasting features? The objects, definitely are subject to arrival and departure. But the light is not subject to arrival and departure. It is ever is in the room. Objects are changing, people are changing, and the light is changeless. Objects have forms and colors, they have attributes, but the light is formless, colorless. Objects are well subject to division. The light is an indivisible principle. The objects can be contaminated by the dust, etc., in the room, but the light is not contaminated. And thus the light is focused on and its unique features are comprehended. So we focus our attention we will take into account the contrasting features, and thereby our attention remains on the light, because of which you experience the people or the objects in the room. Same way, well, in the place of a room now there is a mind, which is a room. And there are many objects present in the room called mind in the form of thoughts. That's how they have given here, kamadhyaha. So desire and anger, etc. A list of thoughts as an example were mentioned also before in verse number 4. We have seen that. So in the very same mind, so kamaha, sankalpaha, vichikitsa, shraddha, ashraddha, drutihi, adrutihi, hrihi, dhihi, bihi, etc. All varieties of the thoughts are there. Varieties of the objects are there in the room called mind. And there is a present a consciousness as an illuminator of all those vrittis. So just like there is no distance between the object and the light in the room, there is no distance. Otherwise the object cannot be illumined. So, well, definitely the light pervades the object. Same way there is no distance, here also there is no distance between the vritti and the illuminating consciousness. And when they are together, the changing vrittis definitely gets attention. And the changeless consciousness, the illuminator principle, well, is neglected as though. So that consciousness, Atma, is always present, but I have not paid attention to. So Vedanta is drawing our attention to that already evident consciousness. I should focus on the Sakshi Chaitanyam. That is in this type of samadhi. Antara, Drsya, Anuvidya, Savikalpaka samadhi. Well, Antara, this is internal, and Drshyam is thought, and Anuvidya, associated. Thought associated, this is a contemplation which is internal and it is thought associated. And of course, but our focus is on focusing upon the Sakshi. So is nothing but this entertaining thoughts regarding the Sakshi. The mind functions only through this entertaining thoughts. Entertaining thoughts such as the Sakshi is in the mind, and Sakshi is the illuminating principle, or illuminator is the meditation or focusing on the Sakshi. So this meditation in which I definitely entertain those thoughts regarding the Sakshi is called Antar Drsya Anuvidya Savikalpaka Samadhi. Drsya means definitely it is here thought because that is illumined. Drsya means it is illumined, and from the varieties of the thoughts which are illumined, our attention goes to the illuminator, the witness consciousness. So that is called this. This is a first type of a samadhi. And now the next verse. With this we have seen in before also. Verse number 24. Now verse 25. Asangas Satchidanandaha Swaprabhodvaita Varjitaha Asmiti Shabda Vidhoyam Samadhi Savikalpakaha. So we are entering into the second form of meditation. Antara Shabda Anuvidya Savikalpaka Samadhi. First one in verse 24 was what? Antara Drsya Anuvidya Savikalpaka Samadhi. Now Antara Shabda Anuvidya Savikalpaka Samadhi. So what is the difference between first and the second one? Well, in the first one, I focus on the consciousness as a sakshi of the thought. I make use of the thought as a prop, to arrive at this consciousness which is witness. Like just as in example, as I told you, the hand was used to aid, to bring my attention to the imperceptible light. Thought is basically a reflecting medium for the consciousness. So repeated practice of bringing the attention away from the thought to consciousness, well, by which the thoughts are experienced, the mind will ultimately gain this capacity to remain with the consciousness principle without being distracted by the thoughts. Then it becomes samadhi. So having established the mind is a sakshi, the various other aspects of the sakshi are dwelt upon. What are the aspects of a sakshi? Well, Upanishad is there, Prakarana Granthas are there, Bhagavad Gita is there, features of the sakshi. And those Upanishad or Prakarana Grantha or even Bhagavad Gita describes in words. So, the features of the sakshi are described in words. So now you take up those words, which is nothing but, well, a feature of that sakshi, a feature of that Atma. So then, while that kind of samadhi becomes what? Well, antara shabdanuviddha savikalpak samadhi. Internal shabdanuviddha. So you take up a various words, either from Upanishad, from Prakarana Grantha or from Bhagavad Gita, and you dwell upon that. So, well, in each session of a nididhyasanam, a different word can be used. Since the words from the Upanishad are used to dwell on the sakshi, this meditation is called antara shabdanuviddha savikalpak samadhi. So thoughts are used in first samadhi to arrive at the sakshi. Now in this samadhi, the second samadhi, the features of the sakshi are focused on. So it is like, meditation upon the light without the help of the hand now. So with the first you focus on, you see the hand, from hand you go to the illuminator of the hand, the light, and now you dwell upon the features of the light. Right? So that kind of a thing. So here also it is like this. So various thoughts are there, like various objects, and they are illumined. So your attention goes to the illuminator, the sakshi, and now, well, after some time, you are able to see, yes, that I am witness consciousness and witness of all the thoughts. After that, now second meditation will be what? Let's take more features of the sakshi. For that you have to resort to, well, ultimately you have to take help of what? Words, which describes the features of the sakshi, and that is from Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita or something. That becomes a second meditation. So, antara shabdanuviddha, associated with the word, connected with the words. Features of the sakshi which are connected with the words. And then that becomes a savikalpak samadhi. Anyways, the first one is what here? Asangaha. So, basically, so we have to take here Asangaha asmi, Satchidanandaha asmi, Saprabhaha asmi, Dvaita Varjitaha asmi, Asmi iti Shabda Viddoyam. So basically, all this asmi goes with all. So Atma is Asangaha. Asmi means I am, Asangaha. I am uninvolved. Asangaha means what? Uninvolved. Sangaha, involved. Asangaha, uninvolved with what? Eyes, ears, etc. So, this is to be understood. Yeah? Uninvolved means what? It is away from eyes and ears. That we cannot say. This is all pervading. How can you say away? And if it is away from eyes and ears, etc., well, or if it is away from everything, you need not say it is uninvolved, because it is away. Why should you say uninvolved? Which is by default, which is very much away from something, you need not have to say, oh, it is uninvolved, it is uninvolved. So, and if it is very much with the things, you can't say it is uninvolved. Please understand this. If it is very much away from something, we need not say it is uninvolved. If it is, if it is with the things, with many things, well, you can't say it is uninvolved, because it is with the things. And therefore, like if you are working with the people, these words we use very much. Uninvolved. Swamiji, I remain uninvolved. So, if you are working with the people, well, basically doing work, you are involved naturally. So, you cannot say I am uninvolved. People say, even in the office, well, they are working with the people are around. Still say, I remain uninvolved. What is this? Anyway, you are always involved. If you have a boss, well, you are involved with the boss, naturally. If the boss asks you to, do something, you do that. So if you are the boss, well, you tell somebody to do this or that. Well, so, you are involved. We should understand this word very clearly. So there is no relation between two people without involvement. And you are related. In the world, everyone is related. You say, I am unrelated to anything, means you sustain on your own. That's impossible. So involvement is there. Involvement will remain and remain. This words, I am Swami, I remain uninvolved. That's a totally humbug thing. Humbug. It's a totally false. Totally. So there is no relation between two people without involvement. If you say we are not on talking terms, Swamiji, we are uninvolved, that means you are involved. Why? I do not talk with her nowadays. Well, why you don't talk? Because we don't go along well. We do not get along well. So, if and such a person remains in your head all the time, so you are uninvolved. That person is, if it come, suppose, if, I will give you example, if the person is completely out of your head, then there is no involvement. You can definitely say, I am uninvolved. But more problems with anybody and then say that I am uninvolved with him because I don't talk to who. Uninvolvement could be in terms of talking. I don't talk. I don't call her, etc., etc. But still, you are very much involved. So that's not easy. Such people to take them out of the head is next to impossible. It's like saying, I don't care. I don't care. Means you care a lot. You care a lot. So this is the issue. So otherwise, if you really won't care, you will not care to say that I won't care. I don't care. Could you follow what I'm saying? So you won't care to say I don't care. If you really don't care, you won't care to say I don't care. So this is, Puja Swami used to criticize this very much. I still remember. Anyway, so, and there are things in the world for which you say, for which you won't care to say that I don't care. What are those things? A wayside rock. A wayside rock. You never say, I don't care about the rock. You never say. But you say about some person, I don't care. You definitely care a lot. Okay? And so, why regarding rock, why I won't care to say I don't care about the rock? Because rock does not remain in your head, even if you experience. Yeah. Rock, a wayside rock, you see, it just goes out of your head. But when you say I don't care about such and such person, that person is not going out of your head. 100%. You are very much involved. You are very much involved. Physically you may remain away, so what? Person is not going out of your head. Either way, either in terms of an attachment, either in terms of hatred. That's called Sangha. This is called Sangha, involvement. It remains. A person, a object of hatred never goes out of your head. And an object of attachment never goes out of your head. That's a Sangha. We are going to meditate on what? Asanga. So basically, so you perceive many things, of course, but you don't get involved because they do not stay with you. The things and beings stay with you. You are involved. You are very much involved. Please understand this very well. So certain objects, I mean, out of many objects which you perceive, certain objects will stay with you. Still you can say I'm uninvolved. Still you can say I'm uninvolved. But then emotionally, you get involved slowly. This is very nice. That's it. The seed of all problems will begin. And this is also not a problem, really speaking. Because we say many things in the creation that they are very nice. They are very nice objects. We see when you go to the nature, oh, Swamiji, this creek is so good, this trail is so good, this mountain is so good, this fall colors are so good. You see, still there is no problem. Even after saying they are nice, they go away from your head. They go away. But after saying this is nice, if you fantasize, that's it. That's it. So from where you have brought this? This is second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I am not saying anything. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangat. Sangasteshu upajayate. Sangaha, fantasy. Dhyayatah. They are appearing again and again in, you are experiencing, perceiving, appearing in the mind, and you appreciate also they are good. A particular item is good, this is good, that is good, that is good. This is fine, still uninvolved. But if you fantasize further, that is Sangha. Sangat sanjayate kama. Over. Kamat krodha, etc. etc. So dhyayatah, no problem. Dhyayata means perceiving. In fact, you perceive varieties of the. We are going to asanga ultimately. This is a part of meditation. What is this asanga? So basically, sangat sanjayate ultimately. Kamaha, bas, that's it. That particular object or person has become an object of a desire, etc. You are already involved. So when you are with the people, of course, the involvement could be very much there, and you can't be away from the people. So therefore, there is always a sangha. So purushaha sasangaha. Upanishadic statement is asango hi ayam purushaha. But we find in the creation right now, purushaha sasangaha. All the time he is involved. He is always in sangha. Member of this sangha or that sangha, you need sangha. I mean, as a person. I'm talking about as a person. Well, definitely has a sangha. He or she simply telling in a false manner that I am not involved. That's not at all correct. It is simply a mithya satisfaction on my part. Really speaking, when the person says that I am not involved with such and such person or this, you should understand that this person, he is highly involved. She is highly involved in that. Even remaining miles, thousands of miles away, the person is all the time. That person or object stays with him or her forever. If you can remove from your mind like a wayside rock, well, you can say even if you perceive, experience, and still it goes away from your head, well, you are uninvolved. That's the thing. The followers of the Buddha, etc., they say, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. Basically, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. I go to the refuge of Buddha. You should go to the refuge of a Veda. Yeah, but no. Buddha is a pramana, not Veda is a pramana. That is how Nastikas. That is how they are Nastika. Why Buddham Sharanam? Because they look upon Buddha as a pramana. That's how. We say we take refuge of a Shastra. They say we take a refuge of a Buddha. Say Shastra, no. We don't believe in Veda. Buddha is a pramana. Whatever Buddha has done, whatever Buddha has said, on the name of Buddha also, whatever comes, pramana. In fact, many of his teachings, Buddha's teachings, have come later, in fact. Much later. It is almost certain that many things Buddha has not talked at all. But still, on the name of Buddha, other acharyas of their tradition, etc., have said and has been taken as a pramana. Buddham sharanam gacchami. And this dhammam. Dhammam means, in a Pali language, dhammam actually means dharma. So dharmam sharanam gacchami. Well, I take refuge of a dharma, etc. And sangam sharanam gacchami. Well, association and this identification, etc. Anyway, sangam may be useful, but definitely not in keeping with this vastu. If you want to know this Atma, which is asanga, definitely you should have a asangatvam, freedom from attachment and hatred. Attachment and hatred both reveal sangha. Both reveal sangha only. And that is how sannyasya shravanam kuryat. See? If you want to know Atma is asanga, you are asanga, relatively become asanga. That's called sannyasa. That's called sannyasa. Asangatvam is sannyasa. Well, basically, means all leanings, crutches, etc. have been given up. Anyway, so different from sangam sharanam gacchami. In Veda says, if you want to know you are asanga, well, sangam tyajami. Not sangam sharanam gacchami. Sangam tyajami. That is called maturity. Emotional maturity is giving up sangha, giving up attachment as well as hatred. Attachment and hatred keeps your mind involved with the object of attachment and hatred. You can never arrive at the truth. So to arrive at the truth, one need to be free from sangha, ragadvesha. One should be mentally sannyasi. Sannyasya shravanam kuryat. That is the criteria. So, asanga only protects the person. Sangha never protects the person. Anyway, asango hi ayam purusha. This purusha is, this atma is asanga. Though it looks that I am involved, but we have to understand very much. Shastra says shrotrasya shrotram manaso asanga atma. They describe like this. Shrotrasya shrotram. Atma is very much with the ear. To know asanga atma, they say atma is very much with the ear, not far away from the ear. So it is if it is away from the ear, you don't have to say shrotrasya shrotram. Naturally. If it is atma is the ear, you cannot say shrotrasya shrotram. Because atma is shrotram. Atma is ear, then you can't say shrotrasya shrotram. If it is away from the ear, you need not say shrotrasya shrotram. You cannot say, in fact. If it is away from the ear, no connection to the ear, then why should you say shrotrasya shrotram? Ear of the ear. So, Atma is very much with the ear. Still asanga. That's the thing. Very much with the ear. But not the ear. Unaffected by the ear. Sustains the ear. Function of the ear is in presence of the Atma. No function possible without lending consciousness by this action to the ear. And the ear is non-separate from the sakshi, ultimately, Atma. But Atma is not the ear. And therefore, Atma is unaffected by the ear. This is all asangatvam. This is how you have to meditate. So it makes every other sense organ and every other faculty, mind, buddhi, chittam, etc., as they are. Ear is ear, because the very ear appears in the Atma, the consciousness. It's just an appearance. Ear is Atma. Atma is not the ear. So Shrotrasya Shrotram. We have seen that, of course, in Kenopanishad. This I am just giving this asangaha is very, very important. Especially, we are discussing here in terms of senses and the mind, etc. Because mind is not now known as a witness of various thoughts. But the first feature of that witness consciousness is asangatvam. Asangatvam. So, any faculty, I mean, in terms of, the mind, buddhi, chittam, all, everyone, they are non-separate from this witness consciousness. They are on account of witness consciousness. They function on account of witness consciousness. But the witness consciousness, the sakshi, is unaffected by the mind, the sankalpa vikalpa, by the nishchaya, by the chittam, etc. So, basically, is free from all emotions, etc. Or even adrishta, punya papa, etc. also. Then you can say, asango hi ayam purusha. I am asangaha, atma. And this is with reference to, and sangha can be, as I told you, with the concerns, anxieties, guilt, hurt. All these are various modes of the mind only. So that, well, you are free from that. Not detached. I have heard this asanga, detached. So basically, it's not detached. When you say detached, means earlier was attached. Yeah. So basically, because detached is a past participle. And though the fact is, there is no attachment, there was no attachment for Atma, for me, at any time, with either of the vrittis. Either with the any type of concern, either with any kind of an anxiety, either with the guilt, or either with the hurt, I was not associated at any time. I was not having any sangha at any time. It's not clear. So asanga hai, the translation detached is a wrong translation. Detached means now I am detached. Earlier I was attached. Means still you don't know the Atma. Atma was never attached. Atma is not attached. Atma will not be attached to any kind of thoughts. There is no detachment from anything outside, inside, hidden in any corner, conscious, unconscious, etc. All the way asanga and all the way present. That's the beauty. That is why this Atma, to know Atma basically is jnanam based, not in terms of any other thing. Anyway, so this is first. Second is what? Satchidananda. Now second. That is also to be discussed. Aham Satchidananda. Asmi goes with anything, everything. Satchidananda. Atma, the self, is defined as a Satchidananda. And in this three-word definition, basically, Sat is often translated as existence, Chit as a consciousness, and Ananda as a bliss. So many Vedantic teachers define, whenever they translate word Ananda, they always say bliss. It's not proper actually. But anyway, so it is obvious, well, these three words are not adjective to Atma. Because Atma is revealed by the Shastra, Atma is revealed by the Shastra by these three words. What is Atma? Is Satchidananda. They are not basically, are adjectives of Atma. If they are adjectives, that means there are many Atmas which are substantive, and among whom one is distinguished with a special attributes of Satchidananda. So like, blue. So blue could be blue shirt, could be blue curtain, could be blue pencil or blue clip. That shows substantive. If you say adjective, definitely substances are more, and among that, well, you distinguish one of the substantive by using a word by using a adjective. When you say blue clip, means there are many types of clips are more, substances are more, substantives are more, and out of that, by using word blue adjective, you distinguish one particular type of a clip. There is a green clip and there is a red clip and etc. etc. So blue curtain, definitely there are various types of curtain, various colored curtains are there, out of which when you say blue curtain, definitely you distinguish. If you say Satchidananda are adjective to the Atma, means there are many Atmas. Out of which, by using the word adjective Satchidananda, I am distinguishing one particular Atma out of that. That's not the case. There is one Atma. Therefore, this Satchidananda cannot be adjective. Means it reveals its nature. Atma is revealed by 3 words by Shastra. That is called Satchidananda. Okay. Now what is Satchidananda? That is because we have to meditate. So I have to give you in brief something. See, Sat means existence. Let us understand first this thing. Now ask a question. When you sit in meditation, ask this question. Is this existence of the self, is time bound? Well, see, the existence of the object is time bound. You know very well. When the object becomes evident to you, thereby you establish its existence. Am I right or wrong? You experience. Evident means object becomes evident to the self, right? The I. Then you say, object is. When clip becomes evident to me, self. Please understand this. The object becomes evident to the self, the subject. Then I say clip is. Now, if the existence of the self is time bound or not, well, in that case, the self also has to be an object. Please understand this. Self also has to be an object. If self is an object, and thereby its existence is established, means it is time bound, then definitely self also has to be evident like other objects, like the clip, etc. If self has to become evident, then to become evident to whom? Clip is evident to the self. Same way the self becomes evident to whom? Self becomes evident to the self. What is this? If self becomes evident to the self, the first self becomes an object. So, self becomes evident to the self means self is self-evident. That's it. Self is self-evident. So it has to be evident only to the self, has to be evident only to the self, like all other objects. The self also, if it's an object, it has to become evident to the self. And when the existence of the self is, if self is self-evident, his existence also is what? Self-evident. It is called self-existent. Every object becomes evident to the self, thereby I say it exists. If self is self-evident, because it is not an object, therefore its existence also is not time-bound. Self-evident reveals that it exists on its own. So when the existence of the self is evident to the self, it is understood as a self-evident. In fact, Shastra describes this as a Satyam, so which is self-existence. And everything else
Should we all get out and do it again?
Swamiji is here, I think, so just wait.
Okay.
I don't know, it just, internet has gone in between. Ha!
Swamiji, you have to unmute.
Yeah. I don't know, all this thing happens.
Swamiji, you're okay. Retired.
Yes, I don't know what is happening, I don't know, but after a few days it has started again.
Yeah, so we last 5 minutes. I'm not
But
sure.
I did not talk because internet was not there, I could see very well.
Okay.
So
No problem. Okay. Sorry.
please understand the difference between subject and object. Object is evident to the self, thereby the existence of the object is established, therefore the existence of the object is time bound. Everything in the creation is evident to the self, thereby we say everything is. Suppose self also is an object, because we are trying to answer, is the self time bound or not? Why we should ask the question? Because we are defining what is Sat. Sat means existence. Existence means, okay, is the existence of the self, Atma, is time bound or not? No. Why? Because that's its nature. Existence is its nature. And therefore, being nature, it ever is. Okay. But then how will I understand it? Because now I'm meditating. So ask this question. Well, suppose if the self also is time bound, its existence is limited, in that case it should be object. It should be object. Because object's existence is time bound. When object becomes evidence, you say object is. If it is not evident to you, you don't say object is. And therefore, existence of the object is established by the evidence of the object. Evidence of the object is to whom? To the self. Suppose self is an object, then definitely its existence is time bound. But then self has to become evident, like an object, like a clip. Self also has to become evident. Evident to whom? Evident to self. Ultimately, everything should be evident to the conscious being. Evidence, knowledge, experience is ultimately to the conscious being. So, evidence of the self. The self is evident to whom? To the self. What is this? Self is evident to the self means self is self-evident. That's it. Yeah, it's not an object. If it is not an object, it is not time bound. If self is evident ever to the self, his existence is also all the time there. Object is evident to the self, thereby you establish the existence of the object, and that is time bound. But if self is evident all the time to the self, which is self-evident, it is self-existent also. The self-existence is called Sat. Self-existence means, existence is the self or self is the existence. That's it. And that is ultimately, this self-existence and everything else, including even the knowing subject, etc., also, whose existence is drawn from the existence of the consciousness. This self-existent Atma, has got to be self-evident, and therefore, that self-evident Atma is ultimately consciousness. And so this self-evident nature, what is indicated by the second word, Chit, consciousness. Self-evident, consciousness, Chit. Self-existent, that is Sat. This is how it is. So because every evidence being a knowledge, there is presence of consciousness. But self is evident to the self, therefore the self must be of the nature of consciousness. When object becomes evident to the self, that shows object is inert. But the self is evident ever to the self, then the self must be consciousness. Could you follow what I am saying? And therefore Chit. This is in short I am giving you. If you have some questions you can ask me. So the self-existent Atma in the form of consciousness reveals itself. The nature of Sat is consciousness, the nature of consciousness is existence, Sat. The third word Ananda basically must have the same status as Sat and Chit. Right? And since it is a word revealing the nature, the Swarupa of the Atma. So if Sat cannot be displaced by a thought, please understand now, we are in a process of understanding this Ananda, not bliss. Everywhere I listen this bliss. Bliss is like a gagabuga. It doesn't convey any sense. Word bliss, I am sure, does not convey anything to the person, like gagabuga. Swamiji was very much right, Puja Swamiji. Anyway, so if basically Sat Chit Ananda being Swarupa, so if Sat cannot be displaced, being a form of existence, cannot be displaced by thought, and much less Chit can be displaced. Sat Chit cannot be displaced. Right? So how can Ananda be ever displaced? By a condition of the mind. Therefore Ananda means some condition of the mind, some kind of a thought of a mind is not. Even so-called bliss, ecstasy is also condition of mind. And therefore if Ananda is translated as limitless, there is no possibility of getting displaced at any time. Whether thought is there or not, Sat is. Whether thought is there or not, Chit, consciousness is. And therefore Ananda also is. It has nothing to do with the condition of the mind. So basically if it is a bliss, well, it has its opposite unhappiness, naturally displacing it. So this word Ananda has really caused a lot of confusion in the minds of seekers as well as teachers. Sukham and Dukkham etc. are opposites, and therefore they are mutually opposed to each other. When the one is, the other is not. When I am happy, I am not sad, and when I am sad, I am not happy. But the truth is, the self that is Sat and Chit sustains every condition of the mind, every vritti of the mind, like the water, well, sustains every wave. So whether the condition of the mind is pleasant or unpleasant, it is sustained not only by Sat Chit but Ananda, because Sat Chit alone is Ananda. And therefore Ananda, the translation of the Ananda is limitlessness. And also I would like to add one more thing. The reason why there is so much insistence on the experience of the self is that the self is taken as a special experience of a bliss. And even if there is a special experience of a bliss, how will one recognize that that is the bliss of the self? Suppose there is a bliss, ecstasy. How will you know that that bliss is a bliss of the self? Anyway, in fact, the Shastra is very clear that every experience of happiness is nothing but a condition of the mind, Antakarana, which does not stand opposed to this limitlessness of Atma. Nothing can be opposed to limitlessness. So even this so-called vritti, happiness, etc., also is a condition of the mind which does not stand opposed to the limitlessness of Atma. The common experience of this happiness reveals that this subject-object situation does not oppose the limitlessness, the wholeness. That is what wholeness is. When you get a desired object, really you are experiencing another object, but there is a second thing. Such a thing has resolved. Even you experience on a given object, in that also, even though there are two things, both are as though enveloped in one thing called Atma, the wholeness. And therefore, it is not opposed. Even the state of happiness, which is the state of the mind, is not opposed to this, the wholeness, the limitlessness of Atma. And the non-recognition of this fact basically commits a person to for seeking such an experience of happiness as often and as long as possible, or he or she can have it. So this is the life of samsara. One who recognizes basically that there is a wholeness, there is no dvaita at all, and that wholeness alone manifests in the state of experience of happiness. Well, for such a person, he does not seek a particular experience of happiness, etc. Anyway, so this is what I mean Satchidananda. So Ananda is wholeness. There is nothing, in fact, in a moment of happiness also, there is a wholeness. There is no lack centered on oneself. So the bliss, etc. has to be, even if some teachers use, you should not go for that word. I am sure that word has no meaning at all, much less for this, not for the students, much less for the teachers also. Okay, so Satchidananda, that's another word. Asangha asmi, Satchidananda asmi, Swaprabha. Very simple now. Swayameva prakashate. Itself in the form of a self-shining. What is the meaning? Everything else is prakashyate. Swaprabhaya. So, Swaprabhaya. I am that light of consciousness by which everything is prakashyate, everything is shines. Everything is experienced, everything is known. But Swaprabha means, well, Atma Prabha. So, Atma Chaitanyam, Atma Prakasha, etc. Swaprabha means Swasya Prabha actually. Swasya Prabha. Like Surya Prabha means what? Suryasya Prabha. Prabha Prakasha. Suryasya Prabha. Hey, this kind of a 6 case has no meaning. There are no two things. In a 6 case, there are two actually. 6 case means the sambandha. In a sambandha is only possible when at least there are two entities. Otherwise, how will you say sambandha? I am connected to myself. I am related to myself. What is this? You are related to the book. So there should be another thing. Here, Swasya Prabha, 6 case, sambandha, means I am, Swasya means myself, and Prabha, the Prakasha, which is another thing, and I am related to that Prakasha. No, sir. It is Rahoho Shiravat. Rahoho Shira. Rahu, it is a Rahu's head. In Rahu's head, you don't say Rahu is a head, actually. Anyway, so Swaprabha means Swasya Atmanah Prabha. Prakashena Bhati iti Swaprabha. So this is Atma alone is a Prabha. Surya alone is a Prakasha, not Suryasya Prakasha. The light of the sun. What is this light of the sun? Sun is the light. That's it. Anyway, so this is how, this is another word, Swaprabha. And then, Asmi iti Shabda Viddaha Ayam Samadhihi Savikalpaha. So, how do you know this? Aham, Asmi, Aham, Atma, Aham, basically Atma exists. Well, what is a pramana? To say it exists, you must have some pramana. Well, I told you it is self-evident and therefore it doesn't need a pramana. So basically, you need a Veda pramana. That is true. But I am, for that you don't need any pramana. So, because it is ever evident. It is aparoksha. It is immediate. It is ever evident. It's in form of consciousness, which need not require any pramana to reveal, which is self-revealing. Other than the self, non-self is revealed by pramana. Either through your pratyaksha, direct knowledge, or paroksha, etc., whatever, or anumana, etc. You have to use pramana. Then only, you can establish the existence. Through pramana, they become evident, and when they are evident, you will say they are. So, but consciousness is, evident to the consciousness. Means consciousness is self-evident. It doesn't need any pramana. And therefore, I am, the I reveals the consciousness, I am reveals the existence. I am self-existent and self-consciousness. That is not revealed by Veda also. But basically, what is its nature, etc.? It is Brahman, etc., witness of everything, and it is all pervading, free from all attributes, etc., has been definitely revealed. And that too, we have seen in Naishkarmya Siddhi, a few people from this class, Veda also does not say, Veda does not reveal that you are Brahman. Basically, Veda removes your notions regarding you, the self-existent, self-evident Atma. You take yourself to be Jiva, etc. You take yourself to be other than Brahman. Those notions have been removed by the Pramana. And then the self-revealing, self-existent Atma is understood as it is. What is self-existent cannot be revealed. Self-evident cannot become evident by even Veda also, because it is self-evident. But regarding that self-evident, self-existent to the self, you don't have an idea at all that it is all-pervading Brahman. And therefore, those notions regarding the self have been removed by the Veda. So this is what it is anyway. So, this is, asmi iti shabda viddoyam. So asangha asmi iti shabda viddaha. So here, viddaha, connected, associated with what? Shabda. Which shabda? Asangaha asmi. I am asangaha. I am Sachidanandaha. I am Swaprabhaha. Dvaita varjitaha. That's beautiful. Dvaita varjitaha. Dvaitam means what? Two. So knower and known. That's a Dvaitam for us. Knower and known. No other Dvaitam. Knower means the one who knows. Known means what is known. Both of them are what? Dvaita varjitaha. Atma is Dvaita varjita means Atma is not known. Atma is not knower. Fine, very good. Atma is not knower. Atma is not known. Very nice. But what about knower and known? Well, they are Atma. Knower and known are Atma. Atma is not a knower. Atma is not known. Atma is what? Atma is Atma. And therefore, Satchidananda, Atma, existence, consciousness and bliss. So basically, this Atma is basically Purnaha. That's it. It's not a knower. Knower is a limited entity. Knower is a limited entity. If you take yourself as a knower, then you take everything else as a known. That's how Dvaita has come. Dvaitam has born of this just ignorance of oneself, not knowing that I am free from knower and known. Dvaita varjitaha, Advaita Swarupaha. So basically both are nothing but Chaitanyam. Knower also is Drshyam and known also is Drishyam. They are mutually dependent. Knower is dependent upon known. Known is dependent upon the knower. There is no knower and known independent of consciousness. You are that consciousness. That is the meditation. That's a meditation. So that is revealed here by this Dvaita Varjitaha Ahamasmi. I am that who is free from this, free from the knower and known, Dvaita. So like that you deliberately bring in your mind all these shabdas one by one and contemplate, negating a certain orientation. Shastra does a job of removing your orientation. Shastra is not revealing self-revealing Atma. Shastra removes your orientation pertaining to the self. That's what the Nidhyasanam is. Some orientation seems to be very entrenched, requiring a certain word, which weakens that orientation, which neutralizes that orientation, and finally causes the wrong orientation to evaporate forever. So, when you pick up a word asangaha, then and you dwell upon that, then in your orientation about yourself, that you are involved, you are related, you are relative. Oh Swamiji, I am involved so much, I want to come out of it. That orientation, entrenched orientation. I feel aham sangaha. I am related, I am relative. That notion is well entrenched notion. That orientation notion is well entrenched notion. And that if it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it. If it bothers you, start with this meditation. Asanga. Aham asanga. I am just consciousness. Associated with everything. Associated with the knower. Associated with the seer. Associated with the decider. Associated with everything. Associated with every sankalpa and vikalpa. Associated with the recaller of memory. I am associated with everything. But I am free from everything. Because all those things are basically mithya. I have not gone into that. But so, these are all appearances. Mind is appearance and consciousness. Everything is appearances. Simply appearance. They are mithya. I am unaffected by them. I am pure consciousness. Witness of every thought, etc., etc. Witness of all emotions. So this is a way, well, definitely one can get rid of the orientations, the notions. So first is, well, definitely, you have to weaken the orientation, and then this orientation, which is wrong conclusion about oneself, evaporates. So this particular form of meditation with words like asangaha, sachidanandaha, swaprabhaha, dvaitavarjitaha, they are all added to this asmi, and that is shabda anuviddha savikalpaka samadhi. Shabda anuviddha means the meditation connected, associated with the shabda, and those shabdas reveal the features of the sakshi. First is a sakshi. I am a sakshi. So that is witness of all thoughts. Thoughts are drsya. So basically drsya anuviddha savikalpaka samadhi. Antara, of course, internal. Drsya anuviddha. Well, thought associated. Then you understand that you are witness of all the thoughts. And now, basically,